But the experience that I had with the other people that I was with, it was very, very nice.
It was like
peaceful.
enhanced in some way.
It was enhanced massively. It was enhanced massively.
I don't know if I've said it on air. I've told you about it, but I took, so it was a cookie, and I had a quarter of a weed cookie, like just a quarter, because like, oh, that should just be enough to have a good time at Universal Studios. So took it before we went, and like I remember how we were in line at like some fucking like juice, whatever, like we'll say Jamba Juice.
Yeah.
And it kicked in, and I just started like giggling, like, "Oh shit, this is gonna be awesome!"
Yeah.
And we're waiting in line to get on a, I think the Simpsons ride or something like that. Everybody turned into a billboard, literally like an old like PlayStation 1 game where the crowd's like just super cheap. Everyone turned 2D, and I was like, "Oh fuck, it's kicking in like really hard. Like this is cool." But then all of a sudden what happens if I take an edible is, if anybody's familiar with like camera settings and stuff, the frames per second in my vision go to like 4. So like I just see flashes of things. I don't see movement. I just see flashes, and it becomes really uncomfortable. And then on top of that, I like lose control of my body. Like I'll start twitching and I'll start moving in weird, like I can't, it's just like electricity goes through my body.
Yeah.
And I'll just do random shit where like my arm will go up. I'm just like, what the fuck do you like?
Like you're waking up or you're sleeping, you know, that
And
like
you
jerking
kinda,
motion that you do
exactly
sometimes.
what
when you're
it's
sleeping.
like, yes. But it just, it makes me so uncomfortable, almost like nauseous. It just like, ugh. And that's just off a little bit.
So interesting the different ways that this stuff hits people, because that sounds like you were on something wild. Like that sounds like sounds like some psychedelic craziness, but it was just a little bit of.
It was just THC, and I've done it after that, and the same thing happened. I'm like, yep, it's just not for me. I'm out. Like, no, thank you.
The interesting thing is, like, growing up, I've seen some experiences in my life where some of this stuff has really just like messed people up. So I was always very like, I will never smoke weed. I will never do this. I will never do that. That's like, it's dangerous. And, you know, in done incorrectly, this stuff can be. But as I've just like spoke to more people, met more people that have had very positive, life-changing experiences that have helped them maybe think in different ways or etc., you know, that it opened me up to being a little bit more curious, still cautious. I'm never going to, I'm cautious enough, and I don't do these things in settings where I'm like partying or whatever, right? It's more so it has a use to maybe help me with some creative thought or something. And it's been very beneficial.
It's good to be suspicious of stuff, and it's good to know like where your stuff came from, and it's good to you know, have some intention behind it. I think one of the problems is sometimes things can be laced with other drugs, and then you can get yourself in a really compromising position. I don't know a ton about psychedelics, and so it's fun to like learn about them, but I take tiny amounts of them. I've never really blasted myself with like a mega dose of anything. I've taken mushrooms, and I've taken like what I would say is like a fair dosage, but I have never taken like, I think they call it, what is the superhero or hero dosage, right? Yeah, I've never like gotten into taking anything like that. I haven't noticed taking anything that even threw me off like hours later, you know, I did do a pretty good amount of mushrooms on one particular day, and then by the time the mushrooms kind of ran their course and ran out of me, I didn't feel like I would have felt if I got drunk. You know, I wasn't still feeling like after effects. I felt fine.
Same here.
Yeah, I was lifted up. I was high for a while, for maybe like 2 hours or so, which was kind of cool. And then I came back down, but I never noticed like a crash. I wasn't like incapable of doing anything, or, you know, if you get hammered, you get really drunk. The opposite seems to be true. After you got yourself drunk, now it might take a whole night for you to just kind of sleep it off. And even the next morning, you might not feel the same. Even for me, even if I don't have that much to drink, I still kind of feel it the next day. That's why I don't really love drinking.
That's the interesting thing about alcohol, because alcohol is like, it's a substance that, I mean, in some countries you can have that at 16 years old, but like a hangover, that'll affect you for days. I can't remember the last time I've had a hangover because I don't drink that much. But the 1-2 times I have, they were like the worst experiences I've literally ever had.
It feels horrible.
It does, right?
Makes me shit a lot too.
Yeah.
I mean, more than I already do.
Yeah.
Yeah. With like psilocybin, because I've never taken more than what we did on the show.
Yes, that was a good
which
show.
was, yeah, well.
Go check out the episode with
Muscle Maven,
yes,
Ashley
Von Houten.
There you go.
Who, congratulations, Ashley, your pregnancy. And yes. But yeah, check out that episode because we all did a little bit of shrooms on that one.
But so I remember with like whether it was weed or of course, you know, alcohol, but like the next day I almost couldn't like function as well, like as far as putting sentences together.
Whoa.
Yeah, like it really fucked me up now that I think about it. With psilocybin, did you guys experience anything like that the next day where like your cognitive like thinking wasn't top notch?
I didn't notice anything.
Nothing. That's cool.
Me
That's good to
neither.
hear. Like that makes me happy and more interested in taking like a legit dose.
One thing that like was noticeable, like because it, you know, when you digest it, it does some stuff in the gut. So like some people say, oh, their stomach hurts. So I felt a slight amount of like stomach discomfort, a slight amount the day of when I was dealing with it.
I think you can like dissolve it in some like lemon or something like that. Somebody was saying helps digest,
like
and
a tea or something.
helps break it up a little bit easier.
But the next morning I woke up, I went down to the beach, like I felt fine, read a little bit of a book. Nothing felt weird. Nothing felt weird at all, which is I was kind of surprised about because I'm like, this lasted for probably 7 hours. Like I was feeling it for feeling high for 7 hours.
Yeah.
Go to sleep, wake up, and I was like, oh, I feel fine.
What was being high like? Like what did it do? Like did you see colors a little bit more vibrant, or like what was it like for you?
So it was on the beach at night with a few other people, and everything kind of melded together. It was really nice. Things were moving kind of slower. Since it was night, there weren't any crazy colors, but there was a fire going, and the fire was kind of like, the fire was very interesting. I should say the fire drew me in for quite some time, because it was like, it was going, and it started like, it just started forming weird shit, and I couldn't stop staring at the fire. So that was cool. But the experience that I had with the other people that I was with, it was very, very nice.
It was like
peaceful.
enhanced in some way.
It was enhanced massively. It was enhanced massively. Here on Mark Bell's Power Project, we're always trying to make things easier for you, and that includes your nutrition. That's why I've partnered up with Eat Right Foods, who has amazing ready-to-eat meals ranging from steak to shrimp to couscous. It's insane. Andrew, please, can you tell the people how to get this amazing deal?
You guys can get food straight from Eat Right Foods kitchen straight to your door. Head over to eatrightfoods.com. That's EATE foods.com. At checkout, enter promo code Power Project for 25% off your first order, and then code Power Project for every order after that to receive 10% off. Again, eatrightfoods.com. Head over there right now.
I don't have a lot of experience with doing like large amounts of mushrooms. I would say that I took a good dosage like one time, and the one time that I did, I was on the beach. I told you guys about it. And I was just kind of chilling, and I was listening to like a podcast, and then I'm sitting there like mesmerized by the waves, which I am always that way anyway.
Same here. Yeah.
I'm a pretty curious person. Like when my wife and I and my kids and stuff were walking through New York City, like they have to stop all the time because I just like stop and stare at buildings. Like I'm fascinated by like structures. I'm fascinated by trees. I'm fascinated by just, I don't know, stuff that maybe not like maybe somebody just would walk past and not think twice about. I like to kind of like take things in. The only way for me to really take them in is to like really observe them and look at them. So like something like a museum or something like that, it's going to take me hours to get through a museum. I'm going to stare at fucking everything for a long ass time. And I've always kind of been that way. But on mushrooms, when I was sitting there, I was listening to a podcast, and I was like, I should take my headphones off and listen to the waves. And the sound of the waves was just enhanced a ton. And then I was like, I wonder if I could like maybe hear them even better if I close my eyes. So I closed my eyes. Now I'm seeing like all kinds of colors and stuff as the waves are coming in, and there's different colors hitting with every time I hear the waves crashing in.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is fucking, whatever this is awesome. Like it felt really, really good. So that's been most of my experience. I haven't had anything to where I've had like, you know, some sort of awakening or anything quite like that, just because I have not done a large enough dosage. One of the things I don't really like about mushrooms is I'm a fairly quiet person in general anyway, and they make me they kind of make me like I don't want to talk, which is good because then I shut the fuck up and I can listen to people better, which is nice. But for like a setting of like going to do stuff with friends or going to do stuff with family, I found Kratom to be a lot more useful in those settings because then I feel like it's easier for me to be a little bit more social. On another note, which sounds, it's like hard for me to even say the words out loud because of the stigma that I've kind of put on some of these drugs in the past and some of the things that you hear about some of these drugs, but I really like acid a lot.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, LSD. And that actually seems to be really awesome, even like for a workout or something like that.
You've done it?
Yeah.
When?
An hour ago.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm on acid right now.
I forgot, man. I'm so high. No, I've done it a handful of times, 5, 6 times. These all have been really small dosages. These have been micro dosages. I've even taken like a micro dose and then went a little bit more than that. I've even like doubled the micro dose and felt it a little bit more, but it's felt amazing. It's felt so good. And for me personally, I like that feeling a lot more than I like the mushrooms. That feels really, really good. I have access to do like, some heavier ones, but I don't know if I feel that at this point in my life, like where I'm at and what I'm doing, I don't really know if I need something to hit me that hard to be transformative, but I could be fucking wrong. Maybe I could use a good change of pace. I don't know.
Quick disclaimer, we don't know what we're talking about. Don't do drugs. This shit's illegal.
This is for comedic purposes only.
Completely ignore us.
Yes. Yeah, we really don't know what we're talking about, honestly.
No, yeah.
But we have some people that can guide us through it. And so I don't think it's smart for anybody to mess with any of this shit unless you know somebody that knows it, that studies it, even like taking this stuff with some sort of intention. Like, don't just take it recklessly just to kind of see how fucked up you get from it. Maybe kind of have a little bit more of a purpose with it when you're taking it. So I started out by taking stuff like on some walks and started out by taking stuff when I know that I was alone. But also I think it's important to make sure you have access. And this is like, this is even for anyone doing an injection of anything. Like, it's not the smartest thing to like do stuff completely alone. You're probably better off letting somebody know, like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm going to be. That way, like, if something did happen, if you did take an overdose, or if you did take something that was unfortunately laced with something, you can maybe get someone to help you, somebody that's not high. You might sometimes need somebody like kind of to almost guide you through it, but my experiences so far, they've been great.
And one thing what you mentioned about intention is so important because it's like, the reason why I made sure to do so much research, because before I did anything, mushrooms, even before I think the first time I smoked, I was like 23 years old or something, right? The reason why I was so scared about a lot of this was because I have a very close family member who had they had a gene or something within them that was underlying, right? They did something once and then they got schizophrenia and it changed their life. Like they are not the same, right? So that's why I've always been extremely careful. And like, even with the shrooms, right? I made sure to try a small dose, see how it affected me, see how I was. Then I tried a slightly bigger dose another day. And then I tried the actual like dosages that the individual told me to give a shot. And I was fine. It was a great experience. But you got to go into, like, I suggest that people go into this with intention. Like some people like to just party and like party on drugs or whatever. That's not what I tried this stuff for. Like sometimes if I ever do use weed, it's usually like, I want to maybe see what type of thought I can come up with or something. Because like I do end up thinking a little bit more creatively and out of the box and certain ideas have come to me when I've done that, right? And the same thing with shrooms. I was curious what kind of things, what I would think. So when I was on that beach, there was a period where I was just like sitting in a squat staring at the water for like 20 minutes just thinking, right? And there was a lot of good thought that happened there, a lot of cool, interesting things. But you don't want to get yourself to a place where you find that you need these things to do things, right? Because that could be a slippery slope where now like you feel like you have to smoke every day so you can get something, or you have
Smoke
to
weed
do
every
this,
day.
right? Exactly, right?
Have you ever looked at the back of a $20 bill on weed from Half Baked? I fucking love that movie.
Chappelle's awesome.
Yeah.
But like you want to be careful that you don't find that you are now dependent upon these things to have a normal existence, because they can heighten a lot of things. I think it's so beneficial. But I also think that you just gotta be intentional, you know? Don't let it take over.